If you think Attack on Titan was about good versus evil, then you already lost the argument. Even back then when the final season aired, fans have been arguing for years whenever or not the people of Marley were evil or the people of Paradise were. But the moment you picked a side, you did exactly what the show is training you to do. What's the word, y'all? I personally think Attack on Titan is one of the greatest animes to ever made. At least in my books. I finally caught up a week ago, but Attack on Titan was popular even back then when I was 9. I remember I was 9 and people out there in 4th grade were talking about joining the Scouts regiment. I remember there was this really tall kid and we used to, jump on top of him. There were like 5 people gang up on this one tall guy and we used to call him the Colossal Titan, which might be counted as bullying, but he enjoyed it. Back then, everything was supposed to be so simple. But looking back on all of it, we were really fooled from the very start of the show. Because once the walls break and the truth is finally revealed, everything you knew is thrown out the window. So if you're still stuck on who's the real enemy of Attack on Titan, I think the better question isn't who's in the right, it's why you believe what you believe in the first place. That's why in today's video, I want to talk about how Attack on Titan changes our perspective without even realizing it. Subscribe, like, support small creators like me, and fuck Jack. Looking back on all of it, Attack on Titan was really preparing us to hate the outside world. From the very first chapter, we thought the story was as simple as it gets. The walls hinder our freedom, and the Titans hinder our lives. That is the thesis of how Attack on Titan starts. It's simple. So when eventually our goals change from killing all the Titans to be free, to killing all of Marley to be free, it's somehow quickly justified. Because it was engineered from the very start to trap you in that perspective. From the very first moment the Titans breached the walls in Shiganshina and eat Eren's mom, you were trained to hate the Titans. But you didn't hesitate when your perspective went from hating the Titans to hating the entire world. And that's exactly how Attack on Titan gets you. It was easy to hate the Titans because they have no identity whatsoever. They have no names, no voice, no inner thoughts, just ugly, mindless monsters. And that wasn't accidental. I think this is exactly what the creator of Attack on Titan, Isayama, wanted for. Because the moment the Titans gain an identity, your morals might change. And I want you to focus on that word, might. Because Isayama doesn't flip your perspective all at once, he stretches it slowly and slowly throughout the show. The Titans we hated were slowly becoming more and more human. Eren becomes a Titan in episode 8. Annie was revealed to be a Titan in episode 17. Reinier and Bertold were revealed to be Titans in episode 31. Titans were revealed to be humans in episode 35. And Marley was revealed in episode 57. They don't shatter your perspective in any way, shape, or form. You don't need any more reasons to hate the Titans. You were just provided with more context, and that went from hating monsters to hating real people. And that's completely just bonkers, okay? Like, fuck Jack, like, holy shit. Your hatred never disappears throughout the show. It just got redirected. You didn't stop believing violence wasn't necessary. You just got more context on who deserved it more. And that's the most scariest part about Attack on Titan. It programs your brain. It isn't preparing you to kill monsters anymore. It's preparing you to justify killing real people. But here's when the show actually shatters your perspective. It's not when you were justified to hate the world. It's when you realize that two sides were never different whatsoever. Killing all Titans despite casualties is essential because doing bad stuff is a moral justification for survival. So when Reinier and all the other guys were revealed, of course we would hate them. Of course we would consider them as our enemies. They destroyed our home. But suddenly we learned the truth in Marley and their morals are exactly the same. They did bad stuff because it's a moral justification for survival. So when you see both sides and they're identical, you're stunned because you were programmed to hate them, but you are also programmed to understand. They did terrible things because they believed they were protecting the world. But the conflict starts at season 4, when it shows you a story from the first episode, now outside the walls. Now the audience is forced to see that the monsters we kept on hating were actually brainwashed children scared into believing they were saving the world. You weren't wrong for hating them, you were just lacking information from the truth. It's all about the narrative and the viewpoint. From the people of paradise to the world, look at how the story repeats itself in the final season. Look at how the fall of Shiganshina echoes the raid on Librio. Look at how the poster of Attack on Titan Season 1 and Attack on Titan Season 4. The answer is not to choose a side, but to understand how both sides were thinking. And that's exactly how Attack on Titan changes the viewer's perspective. But what about its character's perspective? But before we go on that, subscribe, like, support small creators like me. We're so close to hitting 1K subscribers. And the question of the day is, do you think Attack on Titan is a top 3 anime of all time? Because I personally have Attack on Titan top 3 at least, right besides Brotherhood and Frieren. But what do you guys think? Drop it down in the comments below. I read all of them. Appreciate it. Love you guys. I will bet $100 that there will never be a character like Rainier ever again. And that's not exaggeration, okay? There's a reason why Rainier survives the story. There's also a reason why Rainier is the first character the show psychologically breaks throughout the entire anime. Because Rainier is the only character that has seen both sides. Rainier exists to prove both sides believe in the same lie. He was brainwashed into becoming a hero, told he was saving the world, only to realize he was destroying innocent lives. I've seen this theory from plenty of other people, but the reason why Rainier has a split personality, because soldier and warrior were different roles to him, it was the same lie told twice. Rainier from the very start is what happens when you believe in the story so much that you dedicated your entire life to it, only to realize that you were living a lie. We are protecting ourselves from these demons is what Marley said. But when the walls eventually breaks, Paradise starts saying the same thing. We are protecting ourselves from these demons. And the reality is that both sides are just people trying to protect themselves. And Rainier's brain explodes. And Gabi went through the same arc. The only reason you hate Gabi is that you knew Sasha. We were told the story from Paradise's side. But if we flip things around, imagine if we had been following Gabi from the very beginning instead of Eren. We would have felt very differently about her. It was easy to hate on Gabi, okay? I understand that. The Gabi hate was justified. But that's not Attack on Titan at its core, because I understood where she was coming from. The people of Paradise who she knew to be demons her entire childhood just nuked their entire home. Warrior candidates like Gabi, like Reiner, are fed with historical guilt from birth. They were treated as weapons, trained at a young age, and fed with propaganda that they are devils. The reason why we follow Gabi and Falco throughout Season 4 is to make the audience uncomfortable with itself. Now the audience is forced to see that the monsters who destroyed Eren's home were actually just scared children brainwashed into believing they were saving the world. You have one side, Marley, that calls aliens devils. Now you have the other side, Paradise, who calls outsiders their enemies. Both reduce humans who they have never met as threats, and so do we. So the conflict lies when Rainier and Gabi realize that everything they were taught to believe in was a lie. Because throughout the last season, she goes from someone who is brainwashed to recognizing the humanity of the Paradise people. There were no demons here. There were only people. The kindness shown to her by the Bros family changes her perspective. Because in one diner scene, she gets beaten up by a Marley soldier for killing a devil. Her friend Kaya rejects her. The devils of the woman she killed spares her. Everything she believed in was crumbling. Her entire world was falling apart. The scene of her saving Kaya, mirroring Sasha, shows that even though they were on opposite sides, they aren't so different after all, proving to everyone that the people of Paradise and the outside world are not so different whatsoever. But what happens if you know both stories and still accept the other? Eren is probably the most misunderstood character in the entire show. Not because his actions were confusing, because people refuse to understand what he's doing. Eren's perspective changes, like everyone throughout the show, but his goal didn't. He still wants to protect his friends and the people of Paradise, but he understands the outside world is human, and he does it anyway. This kind of propaganda of Eren is wrong or Eren is right is exactly what Isayama wanted. There's people like Reiner and Gabi who realized that, oh, they were just people and we should stop fighting. And there's people like Marley and people in Paradise who think like, oh, everybody should die, the other side should die. And there's people like Eren, who realize both sides, like Gabi and Reiner, but still accepts the other. He still commits fucking genocide. The genocide he did was justified because it was defense for Paradise. We accept the logic that killing civilians is necessary. But when the show puts the rumbling in our eyes, now we hesitate to call it necessary because the scales are different now. The reason why the gang wants to stop the rumbling is because it's global genocide. Nothing more, nothing less. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that. But what a lot of fans overlook is that Armin's group saw the outside world. So to them, humanity isn't just Paradise, humanity is also the world. The same way not every alien is a devil, not everyone outside the walls is their enemy. Jean couldn't sleep because the sounds of the rumbling, every step they take is a million people dead. Everyone else can celebrate, but the others know that not all of them outside the world are demons. He understands both sides, but still proceeds because it was to defend the people he cared about. At its core, I think Attack on Titan is not about sides. I think that's why the ending is so misunderstood. There's no happy ending. Eren's not redeemed, the world is not healed, and violence never ends. We should understand that the war never ends. Is the ending uncomfortable? Yes, because look at the real world right now. You think war will stop anytime soon if there's like a World War III? Of course not. There's gonna be a World War IV, there's gonna be a World War V. Even if the World War V, ends in a nuclear war or something like that, there's gonna be a World War VI. Because no matter what, the greatest threat of humanity is humanity. And that's a quote from me, Captain Seraphim. And I think that's exactly why you shouldn't answer the question at the beginning of the show. Because Attack on Titan is never about good versus evil. Subscribe, like, support small creators like me. I love you guys. Real one say back.